We first talked to Galleon Gold, trading on the TSXV Venture Exchange under GGO, a couple of months ago about their West Cache gold project. Shortly afterwards, the company started publishing one great piece of news after the other. We talked to CEO David Russell today to catch up on these exciting developments. Welcome, David.
Oh, thank you, Warren, for having me again. And we've got an exciting project, as you said, and we keep turning out information, but I think we can go into detail today.
Yeah, that's good because, as you say, we last spoke at the end of December, so not that long ago. But since then, you've been putting out a lot of interesting news. Let's start, though, with the financing, which we talked about back then, but you closed shortly afterwards, which included a famous backer, I think.
Yes, it was good. I think, we started the company with a famous backer, and it's the gold expert, Eric Sprott. And we did the first $4 million financing to start the first 15,000 meters of drilling. That went well. It went so well, we needed to raise more money to go on because of a new discovery. We raised another roughly 8 million. So let's just say a total of 12 million Canadian was raised, and we're well financed to take us through mid 2021 and maybe into late 2021. Some of our key markers are to drill now 30,000 meters with the money, and with the position of our lead investor, Eric Sprott, we're well positioned to get our project completed.
Okay, that sounds good. It's certainly better than having to go back to the market soon. So after we talked, shortly afterwards, as you said, Galleon confirmed the exciting high-grade gold zone at the West Cache project. Please tell us what you found there.
Okay, first of all, our first goal on the first 15,000 meters was to infield drill the east and west pits, complete a preliminary economic assessment, PEA process, we call it. That defines economics and the next steps on the project to develop it. Now, while we were drilling, we found hole number 20-30 intersected an area that was in sediment-hosted rocks as compared to the open pit areas, which are in quartz, feldspar, porphyry. Doesn't mean a lot to the investor, but they are two different units. One is a better host than the other, but both host gold. Now, how did we find this? It wasn't by accident. Our chief geologist had done some preliminary geological modeling and said that the model indicated that there was a down dip hole drilled in 2010 that was sitting in the archives, and was hole number 10-30. And this one had hit a sediment unit also, but they didn't know how that correlated with the quartz feldspar porphyry. And this hole was roughly 720 meters in depth. And the geologist said, look, why don't we drill further on through the pit, about 200 more meters, and test this theory? And we said, okay, that sounds like a good target. So we drilled another 200 meters, and roughly 160 meters below the surface, we hit the sediments and we hit gold. And the gold grades on this were amazing. They were 7 grams over almost 10 meters. And if you define it down to the hanging wall side of it, it was roughly about 14.75 grams over 3 meters. Now, the hole that she targeted from down below and brought it 500 meters up was hole 10-30. Now, this ran 11 meters of roughly about 9 grams, or it had another 24 grams, let's say, at about 4 meters. So they were very comparable. Only the difference is they're 500 meters apart. Now, you've got to prove the theory. So what we said is, okay, offset the hole 50 meters to the west and 30 meters below the 20-30 hole, and this would be 20-42 hole, and we hit it again. Wow. And in that hole, we hit 7 grams over about 11 meters, and another interval of roughly 3 meters, about 10 grams. So we said, okay, that's a good confirmation. We've now got a hole down deep 500 meters below 20-30, and we have an offset hole that says the structure is definitely there. And what is it going to do for you? Well, obviously, it's going to add a lot of gold ounces to our portfolio as we drill it off.
Okay, well, very nice. Promising also for the future. Of course, as we said, you're very well financed, so you just kept on drilling and working on that. Tell us a bit more. What are the next steps, or what were the next steps to finish off the drill program there?
Okay, first of all, we have really two things we're looking at. We're infill drilling the east and west pit. We're about completed with that. That was the 15,000 meters. And then what we found is a discovery we talk about, but nobody's keyed in on the market, and they should key in on it. It's called the gap zone. It's in between the east and the west pits. We've got gold in between and pretty decent grades. So that's one priority for one of the drill rigs. The second one is the number 9 vein discovery here. We've now got 12 holes into that actual structural trend, both up dip and down dip. And we're very pleasantly surprised. Most of the assays are correlating. Now we're waiting on a lot of assays. As you can imagine, the labs get backed up because there's a lot of drilling up in Canada. You know, it's one of your bigger gold discovery areas this year. Now we expect to release a lot of the additional grades probably over the next month to month and a half. Now that brings you into 2021. So the investor shareholder really ought to be looking at the first to second week of January and saying, okay, what is Galleon Gold and the West Cache project turning out now for data? And I think they'll be pleasantly surprised. I think we've got a great project to take into 2021.
Well, it certainly sounds like it. And yes, as you said, a lot of we hear that a lot that companies are waiting on the results not coming back from the lab as fast as you would wish to, especially if you're as we can say in the case of Galleon without saying too much to on a roll, so to speak. You'd rather have the results sooner than later. But I think beginning of the year could be great timing for releasing positive results if that's what they are. So we're certainly looking forward to that. Well, you already alluded to it, that you have the money in the bank that could take you almost or perhaps to the end of 2021. What are your plans overall for the next year then?
Okay, the first of all, we succeeded in our first goal, drilling off 15,000 meters of drilling and infilled the east, west, and west pit to get ready for the first part of the PEA study. Now, I might mention 100% of those holes hit gold. Obviously, we're infilling next to other gold holes, so we positioned them to hit gold. But the economics, when it comes out in the PEA, will tell us really how successful were you. Now, as we progress ahead on the next 15,000, we've already drilled 3,000 of the second 15,000. So total is 18,000 meters of drilling. We have 97 core holes completed. This brings the total database in the model to 447 core holes. Now, with the primary goal now to infill in the gap zone, that's with the first rig. Now, the second rig will continue to define the number 9 vein, and we'll probably look at the data cutoff sometime in February. That doesn't mean we stop the drilling. We'll keep drilling, but we got to stop the data flow through the P&E consultants for the PEA at a certain point, and that'll probably be February to deliver it between March and April to the market. But our ultimate goal will be to complete this PEA. What that's going to do is it's going to actually define economics for the project. But then it also defines economics for your company. What should your share price be? That's what it's really going to do for us. And what we believe in the PEA will be positive PEA. Now, the original numbers we used, say a year ago, were $1,400 gold. Well, now today, say we're seeing a gyration of gold going up to 1980, back to 1820 or 30. And it's sitting this morning, I believe, at about 1835, which is a good number. We did our original numbers at $1,400 gold. So we're happy with the gold price right now. Some people would like it to go up, but all good things will happen in time. So anyway, the key document during this whole time will be the PEA, and then we'll start the bulk sampling, but that will require permitting to be able to do that.
Okay, and that's I think you announced that recently that you're going to do the baseline studies, getting the permitting going. Tell us a bit more about that. What kind of permits do you need? How long will that take?
Okay, first of all, permitting is, in mining projects, it's multifaceted and goes in stages. Now, the permitting, water quality analysis, air quality, a lot of that was started years ago. So we have a pretty darn good database right now, but we still got to do a lot of planning, data collection, and other consultation. With the agencies and with the First Nations, we got to work very closely with these agencies to make sure that everything's done in succession. So what you heard the other day on a press release was Astoria Environmental and Blue Heron teamed up to help us out. Two very large, powerful environmental companies up in the Timmins and Kirkland Lake area that are well known, and they're assisting us in the permitting process. Now, they commenced the early stages, which will ensure all the critical path items for submission for the mine plan closure is completed. That's one of the key ones to your permitting is your mine plan closure. What's the project going to look like when you close it? Right now, there isn't a project there, so we're dealing not with old mining, but brand new mining in a new discovered area. So they've got to actually set the baseline water sampling. They have to understand the hydrology, the monitoring of it, how it flows, and geochemistry and additional archaeological studies are also very important. Now, what do we expect? We expect by the third quarter of 2021, we'll get the initial approvals or the review that says, okay, your project's a go for an underground bulk sampling program. That's what we're targeting. So by the end of 2021, we expect to be moving along with the underground exploration development and bringing test mining ores up. That'll happen all the way through 2022 also, and then we can go to the final steps of defining the full project in 2023.
Okay, well, so you've got a lot of work to do still, but you're going at it already. It sounds like it's pretty good news flow. Results coming out at the beginning of the year. From then, you continue drilling, so we will have new results as well from the extension drilling or the drilling of the new zone, and the infill drilling results will come in. Then you're going to have the PA and the permitting coming up in the rest of the year. So, in your personal opinion, this would be a good time to have a closer look at Galleon Gold, I guess.
You know, I think it's probably an excellent time. Obviously, the investors look at how well did they do in 2021. Well, let's just start back a year ago. Our stock price was 2 cents. We've now increased to about 10 or 11 cents. That's over a 300% increase. And everybody says, oh my gosh, the run's over. No, we're just starting. Be a good time to look at it because as you readjust your portfolio, say in January of 2021, first of all, you look at Galleon Gold and you say, okay, who's following them? Well, right now, Red Cloud is following us. They have an analyst report and their target's 35 cents a share. If that was true, which I believe it is, you're going to see over a 300% increase in the stock price with what we're going to deliver to the market in 2021. So first of all, you look at where did we come from? Where are we going in 2021? You look at the executive management team. We're very strong. Our geological and permitting team is very, very strong right now. So you've got everything poised to get a stock price moving. And I think that's what's going to happen. So the key factor is first, the investor should look at where are we going because of the analyst coverage and what they believe we're going to do. We believe it also. Look at the balance sheet that we're basically debt free. And the stock now is obviously very, very low at 10 or 11 cents. So it's a good time to buy in. And so what we're going to say is, look, we're a good buy. Everybody says they're undervalued. Well, in this case, I think we're very undervalued. So you may want to take a look at the Red Cloud analyst coverage from Jacob Willoughby. And that's under research at redcloudsecurities.com. And they maintain a buy rating of 0.35. So I think we've got a great story for the market here, upcoming in 2021.
Okay. That's certainly a very good closing remark. And thank you very much for taking the time and explaining things to us. And we'll be sure to talk again in 2021 then and see what progress you made. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Warren, and Happy New Year.
You too.